Hello, this is Steve with Apogee Hardwood Cleaning. This is another video in our blog series. Today's blog we are going to go over is the science behind screen and recoat, extending the lifespan of your hardwood floors. We're going to go into some of the technical aspects. We're not going to get very deep into the science. We're not getting down into deep chemistry or anything really sophisticated here, but we're going to get a little more technical on what the screen and recoat is doing. So the first thing to understand with the screen and recoat is what your hardwood floor looks like and what we're doing with your hardwood floor. So a wood floor, if you walk directly on a wood floor, the wood is fairly soft. So the wood would wear out, become discolored, have a number of issues fairly quickly if you were walking directly on the wood itself. So it wouldn't look good for very long, and it would wear down pretty quickly. So all hardwood floors, modern hardwood floors, has a protective layer on it. And on modern floors, that is a polyurethane that is put onto the floor to protect the floor. Now, the other thing the polyurethane does is it enhances the look of the floor, bringing out the color and the texture of the floor to make the floors even more beautiful and to stay beautiful for a longer period of time. So it not only protects the floor from wear and tear, it also enhances the beauty of the hardwood floors. Now, polyurethane is a modern aspect of hardwood floors. Older floors used to have hard waxes and other products on them to protect them. So polyurethane is modern. So when you're dealing with an older floor that may be 100, 200 years old, which we have worked with some of those floors, those will have hard waxes on them that need to be cleaned up, and then a new layer of polyurethane can be added to them while maintaining that old antique look. So rather than getting into the old floors, let's talk a bit about polyurethane and protecting your floors. Like I said, the polyurethane keeps the floor looking good. So especially for those who like the shiny floors, that shine comes from the polyurethane. So as the polyurethane wears down, it not only endangers the wood from getting contaminated and discolored if it wears down far enough so that it exposes the wood, just even slight amounts of wear on the polyurethane can lose that shine, because it's the micro scratches and abrasions on the surface of the polyurethane is what loses that shine on the floor. So over time, as that polyurethane wears down, it will start losing the shine of the floor. This is when people start applying quick answers to fixing the floor rather than doing a screen and recoat. That's when they start using those products that they see at the store saying how they can restore the shine to the floor by applying these products. And what those products end up doing is adding another layer to the floor that over time makes the floor look even worse than it originally was. Which is also why when we come and remove those products from the floor, we usually find the floor underneath it is not as shiny as it should be, because that is why they applied the product in the first place, is to try to make up for the loss of shine on the floor. So getting back to the screen and recoat and the polyurethane, polyurethane does wear out over time as people walk on it in normal day-to-day life. So you're going to need to replace that polyurethane over time. How often you change the polyurethane depends on what type of polyurethane is on the floor. Your typical polyurethane that most professionals are using, either water-based or oil-based, will typically last, the National Wood Floor Association says 3 to 5 years. I personally think it's probably more in the 5 to 10 year range, 5 to 7 year range that is good for. But there's also another type of floor out there, and that is your typical floor that is installed is with the pre-finished, factory finished floors. These floors, the polyurethane on these floors are UV cured with aluminum oxide in them. That makes these floors extremely durable, and from my experience so far has been that these floors can last 10, 15, 20 years without having to be refinished or any work done on them other than maybe occasional cleaning and buffing on them. So these UV pre-finished floors are extremely durable. So you won't need a screen and recoat until probably a couple decades into having the floor. And unfortunately, what I see is the screen and recoat is not always the best answer for those. You have to go straight to sanding. And once that UV factory finished floor is removed and a standard polyurethane is put on there, then you end up being in that 3 to 5 year range after that, or 5 to 7 years, depending on how long you want to push it. Alright, so once the floor starts wearing down, you start losing the shine on it, you're going to probably need a screen and recoat done on it. And you want to do the screen and recoat because if you wait too long and the floor wears down, there'll start being some damage to the floor, and then you'll need to sand the floor. And that's a more extensive process. Costs more money, takes more time, it's more inconvenient than just doing a screen and recoat. So if you do the screen and recoat, it's easier, faster, cheaper, and it extends the life of your floor because every time you sand the floor, you're taking a layer off the floor. The screen and recoat just, as I'm about to get into, the screen and recoat just scratches up the surface a little bit so we can apply the next layer of polyurethane. Which is the next part of this article, is in order to do the screen and recoat, the first thing we want to do is prepare the surface. The first thing we got to do is any of those products that have been used on the floor, any of those quick shines, any of the cleaning products that leave residuals behind, all that stuff needs to be removed from the floor. Because if we try to put a polyurethane on top of that, then we have the old layer of polyurethane, then a layer of some type of product, and then the new layer of polyurethane. And what will happen is with that middle layer of some random product, it will end up causing a new layer of polyurethane to peel off because it's not going to adhere to the floor properly if it's got that contamination in between the polyurethane layers. So the first thing that has to be done when you do a screen and recoat is get any of those other products off the floor. So any of those products that were used to try to make the floor shiny has to be removed. Then once that is removed, then we have to go through what's called a screening, and that is putting a microabrasions into the old polyurethane. We want to get those micro scratches in there so that when we put the new polyurethane on there, it has a mechanical attachment to the old polyurethane, so it basically fills in those scratches and gives it a way to attach to the old polyurethane. The other thing, the next part on the article is choosing the right finish. We choose a 2-component finish that has hardeners in it that gives it a chemical adhesion to the old finish. So I know a lot of people refer to it like super glue. It's basically a glue to glue the two layers of finish together. So ideally what we want is the mechanical abrasion, the chemical adhesion that we get from the screening, and then the chemical adhesion that we get from using the correct products to get the new layer of polyurethane to stay attached to the floor and doesn't come peeling up at some point in the future. Then the next section of this article is the environmental considerations. Humidity is the number one on this. Temperature and sun exposures are also affect your floor, but especially during the screen and recoat process, humidity is our number one issue. And really the biggest effect of humidity during that process is the time that it takes to get the process completed. Because if it is a high humidity day, it's going to be an extremely slow process for the polyurethane to dry. And that starts bringing concerns of if it's drying properly and evening out properly as well. So that is the article about the science behind the screen and recoat. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you want to learn more about properly taking care of your hardwood floors, I do have my book out on Amazon, A Guide for Hardwood Floor Care. Check this out. So on Amazon, it will give you more details about how to take care of your floor, how to properly clean it, what to look for in the products that you should or shouldn't use on your floor, and what to do if you end up using the wrong products on your floor, how to take care of it. All right, thank you, and have a great day.